There we go. Hello, everybody. Hi, and welcome to this space. So, I'm pretty sure it's in the orange video that I posted. The light is still purple. You can kind of see Saturn up there. There you go. Featuring Saturn. We stand Saturn on this. Oh, well, first of all, I don't stand anything because I allow anything the space to F up. And I'm not putting my head on the chopping block. I allow everything the opportunity and the space for growth and for evolution. um, but I think I said in that video, like y'all's probably about to be my therapist. So I had the excuse me. I was gonna go do the thing today, and I had a lot of nervousness around it, but it was an opportunity for me to experience that things are much better than I would have assumed. Oh my gosh, yeah, it was literally like I watched it. Um, that growth has happened, and evolution has happened, and change has happened in this space where I felt a lot of not pressure. This is one of the things I want to talk about. I really hope I remember the other thing. Um, and so there's a lot of worry that I guess I had that wasn't founded. And so, what is for me to do, I guess, in that space is just to be a partner in exploration, I guess. And I'm being kind of vague, but yeah, at first I thought I was going to have to take a little bit more of a stance of like emotional availability. And it's not that that's absent at all, but it's not needed as much, which is gorgeous. Um, and so that was one thing. And it was actually so, I guess, illuminating in a lot of ways. It's like, when you watch people grow up, or when you're with people when they grow up, it's like sometimes there are certain things that you don't notice because you're always there. And then it's only after a time of separation and then a coming back together that you really realize how much has changed. And I've been home. It's so interesting. I've been home for a year and a half now. And the whole time now, my eyes were like, I just had cataract surgery last December. So, but it's like I've been home for a whole year and a half. And it's just recently now that I go to the store and I start seeing my classmates. And we graduated from high school 10 years ago last week, or like Sunday, Saturday. Um, and it's like I'm seeing my classmates. Some of them have kids. I'm like, I've been home this whole time. I ain't seen none of y'all. I mean, it was lockdown for the greatest chunk of that, but still, like, people got to go to the store, got to get groceries. That's where I'm seeing people now. It's in the grocery store. Excuse me. So yeah, there's a growth and evolution that happened, which is cute. The second thing I guess I wanted to talk about is I guess I'm not out of the, or we're not out of the woods yet, apparently. Um, I feel like energies are starting to settle more and more into, I want to say, a certain direction, right? Like if the future of humanity is left or right. then we're settling more on a direction. Now, the specifics when it comes to that general direction are still in the process of being determined and developed and things of that nature. But I feel like overall, excuse me, we're settling on a timeline, which I take as like, oh, okay, like, so we're good. So, like, there's nothing more for me to do. But I guess that's not necessarily true. Um, which kind of takes me to the third thing, which I am very much so recently contemplating. And I feel like, and this might just be me being weird, but I feel like we have so much choice in what we do, and that there are some things that are very important for us to discover on our own. Not that it's important for us to discover on our own, but it's there are some things that it's important for us to discover, and thereby, or because of that, there are also some things that's important for us to sort of work through. And I don't want to be someone who interferes in that. But I guess now there's this question of how much distance I need to have, if that makes sense. Because I feel like I've been in this space of like, oh, it's important that like they decide like there's somebody, let's call the person Jeb. I don't know why Jebediah. Let's say there's Jebediah. Um and Jebediah is in the space that Patrick is in right now, where he's learning to make choices. And so it's like, Jebediah is like, oh, what should I have for breakfast? What should I watch this show or that show in my free time? What should I have for dinner? What should I wear today? And I'll look at Jeb and I'll be like, I don't know, you decide. I don't know, you decide. I don't know, you decide. Because it's important for Jebediah to learn how to be decisive, right? And so I usually, or I've found myself taking a very, very, very like removed and sort of hands offy type of approach in respect and appreciation for the journey that we all have. And I guess tonight I ask myself if I can't be like, well, a little bit more a part of that conversation. Like, well, how do you feel about, pancakes for breakfast? Waffles? Well, what about like, biscuits and gravy? Oh, I could go for some biscuits and gravy and some hash browns. Oh, breakfast is my favorite meal. I shouldn't have done that to myself. Anyway, it's to sort of like offer suggestions. And it's funny because right before I started this, I was thinking to myself that like for me something isn't something for me integrity is something that I try to hold on to constantly, if you can't tell. And so it's almost like for me, and I was literally just thinking this right before I started, it doesn't matter what I experience, everything is going to bring me closer to me. And we're all like that. But for me, it's like I'm not necessarily going to be tempted by something that I know isn't for me. And so even if it comes from a place of like shadow, it will still lead me to the light. And it's not like I guess I make anyone's choices or decisions for them. And excuse me, in the space of not in what space? How do I find this? Where are the words? In the space of development in general, in the space of life, in the space of navigating transition, if there's someone who's in a space of transition, then I try to be as hands off as possible. Because in my mind, it's like, well, it's important for them to decide what the next phase of their life, what the next phase of their journey, what the next phase of this or that or whatever they're transiting through, transitioning through. It's important for them to be at the helm of it. It's important for people to know that sort of like we make our own decisions and that we make our own choices, to feel like we're sort of in charge, or not to feel like we're in charge, but to know that we are. And I think sometimes, or maybe it was just me, it was like I made a lot of easy and convenient choices, right? Like after elementary school is, uh, middle school, and then you go to high school, and then the next logical choice after that was university or college, right? And when it was time to go to college, I had a convenient answer. When I was in college, I had a convenient major. Hey D, how you doing tonight? When it came, like, there was one company that I knew about that like fit my major, and so when people ask me, "Oh, like after you graduate, where do you want to go?" I want to go work for that company. It's been a lot of convenient sort of things, which is again like when I tell y'all the not stress, but like now that I've healed a lot of the stuff and now that I'm coming into a point of, I guess, autonomy within my own life, there are choices and decisions that I've never really made because life has always sort of had a next logical step and I've always just taken it. I've always taken the easy thing. Um, and so for me, I guess myself, it's like I'm in this space where I'm feeling like that choice for me. And so when it comes to other people, then I try to extend the same courtesy, maybe question mark. I don't know. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why I feel so much of like a non-interference sort of like I don't want to interfere. Um and like I said, it's like it's not like I make anyone's choices or decisions. And sometimes a suggestion is helpful, right? And if the suggestion doesn't resonate, or if the suggestion doesn't align to the path of the person, then it's, I guess, for me to trust that they will know that. I don't think I have anybody in my life, question mark, who just does what I say. Like I don't have any control over anybody. Pretty much everybody in my life is like, "Oh yeah," like, or they're like, no, like not really." They all have, we make our own decisions. We're people. We do that. And so I don't know. I don't know why. I feel like that, and that's why, like in this space, like I feel like I'm weird because I feel like that's not something that people typically think about or question, right? Maybe like, am I interfering in someone's life by suggesting that they do this? Am I interfering in someone's life by pointing this out to them? Is this something that they need to discover on their own? Like, if I can see this from the position and space that I'm in as this sort of paradigm that they exist within, like maybe it's for them to go through a series of events and circumstances and happenings to discover that paradigm for themselves. And it's like, does it cheat their journey if I mention something? And I guess I'm coming into the space of like, no question mark. Because again, like I don't. control anybody. I don't have that level of authority over anyone's life. And I think, excuse me. Hey, Rebecca. Thank you. I'm like, is this stuff that people think about? Am I alone in this? And I don't know. Again, it's like, I don't know why I feel like I have to have so much like non interference, even when it comes to like people that I care about and people who like are closer to the sphere of my personal life, even people who aren't in the sphere of my personal life, right? Even if through this space, I think that like more often than not I'm pretty opinionated, and more often than not I don't mind stating my opinion, say. But I guess sometimes I don't know, it's just something that I'm asking myself tonight, because I don't know. I just feel like I gotta preface everything by saying I'm weird. I don't know why. Oh, on the same boat, on the receiving end. You're on the receiving end? Oh my gosh, Rebecca, thank you for being here. So, as someone who's on the receiving end, what would you say is like helpful? Like, would you want someone to like suggest things, or like what would you say is helpful for you? Oh, girl, who was that? What's that? Oh, snap! It's Twitter. Is that my brother? Yes, my brother. June 25th. That's in 10 days. It's all. We're like halfway through June. We're halfway through 2021. This year is like, where? Where is time? Everything is accelerating. I don't know what's happening. It was literally just like December 2019, and it's already halfway through June 2021. Excuse me. But yeah, it's like I don't know where this like non-interference comes from. And I guess it's like I should remind myself that there are some people who need to see before they can believe something. And when I got the SKT, the Spirit Keeper's Tarot, she was like, you should like shuffle up to see like the space of like one of your guardian angels slash guides when you use this deck. Oh, let me get my glasses. Oh, I don't need them. Mm. Hey, Zelda. You're a Libra, so sometimes it's hard to make a decision. I can't make a decision. I can make. I'm changing my narrative. When it comes to certain things, like when my Taurus moon, when the Taurus in me kicks in, I know. I know what decision I'm making. But in more mutable spaces, that's when I'm like, well, if I could do this, maybe it's the Pisces in me that sees. It's like I tap into the potentials. Like, well, if I do this, then this, and that'll happen. But if I do this, and that'll happen. And then this thing could lead to these potentials. And it's like, okay, well, those potentials may not even be reality. First of all, Pisces, so slow down. Um, you're a Libra, so sometimes it's hard to make a decision to decipher between your opinion and others. Mm, maybe that's codependent too. I think Thank you for sharing that first and foremost. I think for myself personally, and for anyone who knows me or who has ever been in the space where I have given advice, or if you've seen me, um, that's why I always say that whenever I'm in the space of giving advice to someone, I personally like to know the person. Um, and I feel like I try to intentionally, like, if I am stating my opinion, okay, well, no. If I'm in the space of giving advice, I try to emphasize that, like, this is what, like, I would do, like, this is what my opinion, this is what I observe. This might be helpful for you so that it would make it easier, hopefully, for that to not happen to the person on the receiving end. Um, and in general, when I was in, and maybe this effed me up, when I was in rhetoric, senior year of high school, and I was writing papers. I love writing. I never do it, but I love to write. My brain on writing is just different. My brain on speaking is so scattered and like all over the place. Even when I'm writing, it's the same. And this is a little bit of a tangent. I'm sorry. Even when I'm writing, my brain is the same where it's like it's scattered. I'll start like as I'm typing it, the beginning of the paragraph will be at the end, the middle will be in the beginning, and then, but like if it's on the computer, I can copy and paste and rearrange it to make it flow for normal people. For people whose brains just go from start to finish instead of this like end, beginning, middle, beginning, end. I rearrange so much when I write. Whatever you feel called to do or say is right. Mm, okay. And another thing, excuse me, when it comes to like consequences, that's normal. You taught writing for years. It took me so long to get a teacher who saw me, I guess. Cause I had one teacher and she would always give me like C's on papers and stuff. And I would never understand it. And then one day, it was my senior year when everything started like falling into place. She was like, "Oh, I used to be like," she was like, "I went to school for like writing or rhetoric or something, and I know what level high schoolers should write at." And she would always like, she would be like, "Oh, like you're plagiarizing, you're plagiarizing." I'm like, "Plagiarizing what?" Like we literally watched a movie and I'm writing a paper. I don't think she thought that I could be as articulate as I was. But like I said earlier, I'd started hooked on phonics before kindergarten. I went into kindergarten knowing how to read. I was like, by the time I was in like second, third grade, I had basically read all of the books in the school library, going to the public library. I was reading well beyond, I guess. And when I write, I do the same. And I guess she didn't think that I should be writing at the level that I was writing at. But what that did for me was, since she always said that I was plagiarizing, it pushed me to be more and more and more creative and to deviate more and more and more from basically everything. And it wasn't until I had um, the rhetoric teacher my senior year, where she was like, she actually sort of like saw that I guess I was writing it. And it was, that's when I discovered my love for writing. It was rhetoric. I don't know if I was a Greek in a past life. I'm kidding. Um, but one of the things she would say is like, you don't have to say I think. Like this is your paper. Like you're writing the paper. I know this is what you think, so you can just say it. I was like, oh. So now when I speak under the assumption that like you know that this is what I think. You know that this is what I feel. You know that this is my opinion. So I don't have to necessarily state all the time, I think this, I feel this. My opinion is this. I just talk. And it's like I assume that, you know that it's my opinion. You know it's my thought, my belief. But I do still be like, whenever I approach certain spaces, I'm like, well, this is what I think. When I think it's important to emphasize it, I guess. So yeah. Rhetoric was, oh, I loved it. And then I took my English class in college, learning about it even more. That's when, honestly, though, I think it was in college when I was like, rhetoric is kind of dangerous. It's not. It's so like, especially when like they were talking about the Greeks and the forums and the agoras or whatever in Rome. Um, how you can sort of like structure information and for like especially when you get into like ethos, logos, and pathos, and again like how you structure information to get a certain point across in a certain way that'll stick with an audience sometimes. Yeah. And I was like, what? And then it's like, well, you think of like politicians and stuff and how they have speech writers, and it's like, wow. I was like, it kind of blew my mind, honestly. I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is crazy. And like, that's what to write a good paper, when you're learning it, it's like, and they say that when it comes to certain things, like pathos is the most effective to get people to feel a certain way. Or like if you want to get heavy into logos and like use like numbers and statistics to emphasize stuff. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I was like, this is powerful information. Socrates versus Sophocles. Oof, I didn't expect to be. I'm sorry, Rebecca. I feel like I completely derailed the conversation. Oh, I'm such a. I love it. I love me. Um, and who was Because I was talking to one of my buddies, and he did philosophy, I think. And I was like, I used to want to be a philosopher. I remember I told people, I was like, if I could do anything, I would just go back to ancient Greece and be a philosopher and just talk. Um, oh, thanks, Steve. I was like, I'd just be a philosopher in ancient Greece and talk. I feel like philosophy isn't what it used to be. And then, yeah, Portuguese on your keyboard. What? Oh, with the O and Socrates or something? You're fine. Um, and then when he told me what philosophy was, I was like, ew, I don't want to do that. I'm glad I didn't major in philosophy because I thought philosophy major would be like ancient Greece, I guess, when we're talking about how we sort of analyze how we could critique life and you build out your own philosophical style. No, they just teach you what other people thought. And then depending on like who your philosophy professor idolizes, you learn more of that philosophy. And it's interesting because my junior year I had a class, and in that class it talked about, we had a little period where we talked about sort of like logical fallacies and stuff like that. um it gets brain warping for you. What, philosophy? Or like the whole like, let's teach you what other people think, and then I'm like, ew, like they don't even teach, like I thought philosophy teachers taught you how to think for yourself. That's gross. I don't want to learn what other people thought or think. But Um, but like we would go into like the logical fallacies and things like that, and that was a professor that was very much so like think what I think, and so it wasn't whatever. But yeah, and again, like I went. It wasn't great that that was my experience in high school, but I also appreciate it so much because again, it pushed me into finding my voice. Um, and then I had a teacher who could recognize me in the space where it came to refining my voice. And then in college, I had professors who would help me refine even more. And I remember talking to one of them, and she was like, "This is like really good," and blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh my gosh, girl, thanks." I love writing. I never do it, but I love it. Anxiety provoking. Oh, the whole Matrix issue. Nothing is what it seems. Well, when it comes to the Matrix issue, I'm like, well, is that the nature of Earth though? If we live, if the law of attraction and law of manifestation is a thing, like if those are indeed like universal laws and not just like matrix programming or coding, then wouldn't our reality sort of be like that forever? Kinda. I guess the thing about the matrix is that there are like people who are in control that sort of establish the whatever. I don't know. Um, but yeah, to loop back to what we were originally talking about, I try to always offer things as like my opinion or my input. Um, and I don't think I really offer if it's not asked for, but maybe sometimes I do. Excuse me. Thank you for being here, Rebecca. And Dee and Zelda. You popped in, right? I love this. This is fascinating conversation. um, and so I guess I'm in this space now where it's like maybe I don't have to be so non-interferal. And for me, it's also like if I haven't personally gone through something or if I'm not personally experiencing something, then I feel like that I don't really want to speak on it. It was just a metaphor, the Matrix meaning that reality is so subjective. Oh, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. That's why for me, I think sometimes I might struggle with it a little bit, but then I'll just be like, I just learned to accept paradox. I learned to accept that multiple things can be true, and it saves me a headache from trying to figure it out. Like, what's the real truth? Ooh, hold up. This loops into my original issue. Oh, Rebecca, are we going deep? I mean, I guess it's already been deep. Can you elaborate on that a little bit for me, please? Excuse me. Ooh, I'm enjoying this. Again, thank you for sharing this space with me. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit to review. I'm like at this spot where I can almost read without my readers. The thing is, I'm gonna just put them on and make it easier on myself. The thing is, you are intentionally, when you advise, you will continually put yourself in others' shoes. Oh, hold up. I gotta make a note. I just had a thought that I want to save. Boy, it's 12:30 at night. Y'all should be going to bed. Well, I guess I'm still up. So, where do I want to put this? I'll actually put this. So I have this synchronicities section to my journal. Never used it, but I'm gonna put this there. Things for me to really sit with. Um, what? All right. Thank you. I was like, "Ooh, that was profound. I gotta take a note of this." So I'm back. Let me read these again. Things are, yes, I try to be. Thank you, D. So what do you think is your ego inserting itself? Opinion may be received as slightly different by the receiver. Obviously, you have to have feeling beyond thought. Oh, no problem. When I was coming live, I was like, if anyone's on like another side of the world, then maybe this will be a a better time to catch me. Yeah, I'm so happy that y'all are here tonight. This means a lot to me. Thank you. I appreciate that. So you don't get much free time during the day. Are they young? Excuse me. I'm not like cutting into your sleep or anything, am I? I mean, I guess you would go to sleep if you had to go to sleep, right? So, but yeah, I guess I'm reaching the point where you end up thinking like, I think, I used to think late more, but I feel like lately, I just like I'm constantly thinking. If I'm not, playing video games or something, but even when I'm playing video games, I'm still thinking sometimes. See empathy, and I try to, yeah, yeah. Three under nine, 1 18-year-old. Oh, okay, under nine. Oof. I'm trying to like, I'm trying to think like when I get to the point where I feel comfortable having kids. It's like, because I think for me, it would have to be a decision that I make up front about like how many kids I would want. Cause I don't know if it's I would be um like I have one kid and then they get older, then I have another kid. Cause I'm just like, how close would I want them to be? slash like not how long I would want to be parenting. I don't know. I don't know. Because I have some friends who have older siblings. My mom's kids were like, there's 2 years between me and the middle, and then 5 years between me and the youngest. I'm like, I guess I wouldn't mind. I don't know. Kids are something that I didn't think I wanted early in life, and then one day I saw a grown man on a bicycle, and I was like, I want children. Don't know what prompted. Glad to hear that your Xbox is upgraded. Upgraded. You wish you had been more intentional. Well, I mean, it happens for us how it's supposed to, right? Sometimes I've also discovered, and this is what, like, I got a lot of, I'm a Taurus moon and rising. I'm a Taurus moon and rising, so that my moon is in my first house. So there are a lot of things that I'll just automatically just like not do. And I've missed out on a lot. And so sometimes it's the less intentional that make room for the miraculous and the wonderful and the, or at least for me personally. Yeah, yeah. Your mom had three middle, 10 years younger, third 17 years your junior. Oh, you're a middle child, T? I always find it so fascinating. I'm weird in that like I kind of assume and the nerve. I love that. I kind of sort of assume that people are only children by default. I don't know why. And then somebody be like, "Oh, my sibling." I'm like, "What? You have a sibling? That's crazy." And it's like, yeah, well, there are a lot of people with siblings. Oh, you're the oldest. Oops. So the middle is 10 years younger, and the third is 17 years younger. Okay, I got you, D. I got you. I'm an oldest too. Well, I'm my mom's oldest, but I'm in the middle. I'm the near youngest of my dad's kids. And it was such a dynamic shift. Like when I would be here and I would be the oldest and then I would go visit my dad and be the youngest. I was just like, what? And my sister, like, I would tell people for a long time, like, if you think that my sense of sarcasm is mean, I learned it from my older sister. And I remember, you're the oldest of two. Shout out to the only oldest children. Oldest children only on this planet. But you don't talk anymore. Yeah, you did say that you don't talk to your sister. You're your dad's only child. I guess like you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, Rebecca. But is that something that I guess you would want to change? Thanks, D. Because it's like I don't know. Oop, I'm taking this off. I should have cut this on. I'm low key obsessed. Hey, Mimi, how you doing? I can't like when my hair gets even longer. I'm gonna be a mess. Oh, see that. So for full disclosure, um, that is something. So the conversation that I wanted to have. Oh, well, glad that's over. The conversation that I wanted to have is with my younger brother earlier today, and I'm very cerebral. And like I said, growing up, I just excelled academically, and my other brothers didn't as much. And so I think whenever I would offer them advice, they would take it as like me thinking that I know better. And so I had a lot of hesitation in approaching him because I didn't want him to think or feel that I was trying to like tell him what to do with his life or something. Um, and so that was a fear for me. And like, well, how do I approach this situation? And I was like, if I approach it with love and patience, and hopefully it won't turn out weird. Um, but in the space of just like, cause and I was like, hey, like, let's go get some custard. It was good too. It was good. I'm glad the water fast is over. um, but he kind of sort of just started talking. And in that, he told me, I hear him. He told me that like he isn't the person that he used to be. And if he was then who he is now, that I don't know, Mimi. I didn't weigh myself. um he told me that he's not the person that he used to be, and if he was then who he is now, then certain things would have gone down very differently. And I know that I can't control anyone else's reaction, and I know that sometimes it's like when we're in a space of already sort of feeling a certain type of way, then it's almost like it doesn't really matter what someone else says to us. It's like we could feel triggered and we can feel attacked. And it's like it can be someone who's just, like genuinely offering love and support through the space of advice. And I had a friend who I experienced, so like I was on the receiving end of that dynamic where I had a friend who would offer advice in spaces that I wasn't asking for it, because the advice that he was offering would like pull me out of basically a depression and a funk that I wasn't ready to get out of. And so I responded, and it's funny because he's also a Libra. Um, and I feel like in the moment it's so weird, not weird, but I'm glad that I can see everything now the way I see it, because in the moment when he would give me that advice, I felt like maybe it was him trying to fix me, or that like he wasn't really listening to me, he wasn't empathizing with me. And again, like I wasn't ready to accept or not be over the things that I was going through. I wasn't looking for any resolution really. I was looking for a pity party, if I'm being honest. Um but now that I look back on everything, and now that I know him more, I can see that that was him loving me. That was him trying to support me. That was him trying to be helpful. That was him being what I wanted, I guess, before I was really ready to receive it. Or um, in a way that I guess I didn't really want it. And I literally just had that realization maybe of like 2 months ago. And I was like, wow, I felt a little crappy, honestly, because I felt that sometimes that he didn't really care, but he did. Um, he just showed it in a way that I didn't see it. So I don't think so. I honestly don't think it was. Again, I was just like, I was in such a rut that whenever anybody challenged the space that I was in, because I had already given up, I had already seen things as incapable of being fixed, and I was stuck in that. So anything at all that would have led to resolution, that would have led to me being happy, it would have put me in a space to actually rise up and face head on the things that I was experiencing. And at that moment in time, I wasn't ready to do that. So everything that I received felt like an attack or something like that. So, yeah. And I know that there are some people who do that, and he's not really that type of person. I think if he was that type of person, our friendship wouldn't have worked. Um, I just wasn't ready to receive it. And I remember, so for a long time, excuse me, for a long time, I didn't tell him what was going on with me. And then one night, I told him about my eyes. I told him about my depression. And he was like, oh my gosh, like now everything makes sense. Now it makes sense that you behave the way that you behave in certain spaces. And I remember he broke down that night because someone else that is very important to him in his life was also going through the thick of a depression at that time. And he was like, I can't do anything. He was like, these are like two people in my life that I really, really care deeply about. And I can't do anything to help either one of them. And I guess it's interesting because, like, that's something that I also feel when there's someone in my life that I care about and I can't do anything to help them, then it makes me, I don't know, I don't like feeling powerless to being able to help the people I care about. I didn't even hear him. So that's why, like, in my situation, I feel that, like, it wasn't really an ego thing on his part. I just wasn't in a space to receive what he was saying to me. So let me read these. Where's my mouse? Oh, it's up there. I'm literally looking at it. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Rebecca. I hope that you reach the space where you can get past this. Oop, oop, oop. There we go. Right. You're the baby girl on both sides. What? Yeah. And that's very true, Rebecca. Um, so, and I think there are some times where, like, just the presence alone can be really nice. So, wow, moon ain't even in Scorpio. I'm just playing. The moon is in Leo. It's a vibe tonight. Thank you again for being here. I appreciate this so much. It's the oldest son. You never stop trying, helping others sometimes. Yeah. Oh, that's literally what you said, D. That's literally what you said. Positive vibes and being there. Ooh, that's one thing. It's like, ooh, being a parent. Being a parent, goodness. I'm like, I love you. Sorry, one second. So yeah, that's the conversation. Your son is 35. Yeah. Ooh. So you only got 17 more years for that, Rebecca. I'll be 35 in 7 years. In 7 years. Yeah. And that's one thing that my mom would always say. She was like this doesn't come with the guidebook. Like, yeah. And I'm like, if I adopt, because I think I'll adopt. Um, I don't know. That's a whole. Oh, go to bed. Look at me talking. But yeah, that was excuse me. That was the third thing, and pretty much it. At first, I was like, "Oh, my work here is done. There's nothing more for me to do." New kids. My little cousin is like what 4 or something. She been a mess since she was like 1.5. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You want to meditate through the rest of their childhood? Well, as you become more centered, grounded, present, and in the moment and aware, then you will be able to pull those insights from those meditative spaces in the moment. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Um, I think I got my answer. So thank y'all. And I was like, oh yeah, my work is done, girl. Like I'm just about to hop up off of YouTube. But I'm like, I guess, things still need to continue to transpire and happen. So I'll be here. I feel like I want to pull cards now. But I won't. Not tonight. Excuse me. By virtue of having 4 kids. Woo! My mom has 3 kids. And we're all like different enough. We're all so different. We all need. Oh, I have the Witch's Tarot. Is it within arm's reach? It should be because. No, it's not. Wow, that deck was down here earlier. It was down here, and I'll put it up there. Um. Well, okay, give me a second. Who do I want to pull? Ow. Ooh. Oh, let's go with these. Oh, oh gosh. Am I 28 or 48? Sometimes my body doesn't know. Ooh. After I tell people, I told my friends after 25, 26, everything is all downhill. But they're a lot fitter than I am, so their experience will be different. I think is he's a 94 baby. Yeah. And that's another thing. It's like because of everything that I've done, I've been able to like enjoy like I can be almost 30 and not have a existential crisis. I had my quarter life crisis when I was 24 years old. So, is this the book? I grabbed the Mirror Truth Lenormand, so the book is here. What about the book? What was I saying? Yeah, my mom, like, and we're all sufficiently different to the point where it's like she can't even like use the same approach with all of us. It's different for everybody. The book and the lily with the rods at the bottom of the deck. You're going to be hovering around soon. So the book and the lily came out. The lily, it feels like the lily is pressed into the pages of the book, like a pressed flower type of situation. And I'm not really sure what that means. Why do people press flowers? Your mom had your little brother at that age. Oh, you got this, D. My mom was fairly young when she had us. It was 21, 23, and 26. She was 21 when she had me. Best years of her life spent raising me. I'm just playing. I'm kidding. Why did I pick up my phone? To save them forever. Oh, you're cut off age for a long time. See, well, unless you get your tubes tied, Mimi, you can have a baby whenever. You could have a baby whenever. Sometimes it just happens. You think you done having kids, all of a sudden you pregnant. Keep memories to preserve them. Romantic reasons. Yeah, because it feels like this lily is pressed in the book, but it doesn't feel like a bookmark. What are the numbers? 26 and 30. I think the book is also about secrets. Lily is an energy of divinity. Behind it or not, to keep it from dying. So you can keep the memories. Oh, I'm gonna set these here. Ooh. There we go. I'm in the bed. Like, I'm pretty sure y'all can tell, but King of Hearts, Ten of Diamonds. You love fresh flowers. I got some flowers and then they started to trigger my allergies. It was the first time I got flowers though. They were so cute. I was like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Thank you. No problem, Rebecca. Thank you for being here, girl. Thank you all for being here. I low key, I feel like this is the energy that I've been getting off of the Six of Cups. It feels like we're going through our life, page by page. The question is for you. I know, right? Got in my first jacuzzi. The first time I enjoyed it. And I've been seeing all these little YouTube ads. Hot tubs are proven to reduce stress, and we need them more now than ever. Oh, wow. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it, Rebecca. I should go buy myself some flowers, D. You on to something. You on to something. Let me give myself my flowers. The lily is for you. So this is us. We live our life day to day, page by page. And it feels like we flip the page over and we find this pressed flower. And again, it reminds me of the energy of the Six of Cups and the Pride Tarot. It's an energy of like something, it's almost like something that we've seen or experienced before. I feel like it's something that we're not necessarily aware of, but when we encounter it, it's almost like it triggers a sort of remembrance. And I don't know why. I was watching a show, it's a gambling anime. And I think she said that lilies are toxic if you eat them. But I'm like, who's eating flowers? Who's out here eating lilies? I don't know. I guess if it's a child and children put like everything in their mouth. So maybe there's this difficult experience that we come across. But with space, yeah, okay, because it's 30. 3 is a catalytic number. Remembrances of things past. Marcel Proust. Or Proust? I like that, remembrances of things past. It's something catalytic. It's something that it's like it triggers something within you, but it just is what it is. Oh my gosh. What do you mean? Ain't nobody tell me. I guess I ain't need to know. It was on a need to know basis, and I didn't need to know. Yeah. And that's like, wait. Like, I've always had a pretty awesome relationship with my mom. And cancel karma. Yeah, I'm not interested in playing out anybody. I'm like, can I just get to the blessings, please? Karma, y'all can, I don't know, play that out somewhere else with somebody else. Um, Catalytic. So it changes you. It isn't changed. It's triggering something. This is meant to trigger something. And again, it's like that's that Six of Cups energy. It's like when you see it, it triggers something internally. It triggers a remembrance. That's what you said. Would you say remembrance of something by Marcel? Was it Marcel Proust? Can you scroll up, please? Remembrance of things past. That is interesting. I'll take that. Can I get exactly? That's what I'm like. I'm like, yeah, no, see, like, they can get that anywhere. You can get that anywhere. You can go do that somewhere. Go do that somewhere else. Go do that with somebody else. I'm like, I'm ready for the good stuff. I'm not interested in, like, yeah, no. Hashtag not my cycle. Oh, that's way too many. And I didn't even look at them. I'll get one more. It doesn't feel like it's not supposed to be known. You're gonna make that your mantra. There we go. Who is this? Is this the bear? Oh, it's the ship. Oh, we have 30 and 3. The ship came out. 30 and 3, which is 33 if you add them up, right? 303. Is that somebody's channel? It's like 303 High Priestess or something. I feel like I see him pop up on my home screen or something. Maybe not. Oh, it's a 10. It looks like the 10 of hearts. So it's the 10 of diamonds, the king of hearts, and the hearts. This is the king of cups in the Pride Tarot. Because the king of cups has a ship on his head on top of the water. And it's this, like, our internal space determines how easy or difficult it is to navigate life. So as we're coming through life, as we're going through life, this isn't, I mean, she does love readings. Oh, okay. I mean, if she resonate for y'all, maybe she just uploaded something that's gonna help. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like sometimes I see stuff and I'm like, this isn't new. Like, this isn't groundbreaking. Oh, this is Merkavik. I didn't see that. Yeah, it's the Merkaba, bottom of the deck with the cross. Number 36 being a 9. It reminds me of the Andean cross in that deck that people use that I don't have. It is the Oracle's apartment number in the Matrix. There you go. I love that, D. And that's why it's like it's triggering a sort of divinity. Oh, okay. It's almost like a brand new adventure. What is that? Bolkinsha? Is that adventure? Or adventurer? Bolkinsha. I just started watching Rising of the Shield Hero with my brother. I already saw it. But he's reading this book that outlines like a certain prophecy, and then he reaches a blank page. And then the book starts to turn and turn, and then it sucks him into the book. He's summoned as a hero into this other world. And I feel like I just heard like Bolkinsha. And I think that means adventurer. Girl, my Japanese is rusty. Spirit, you got to talk to me in English. You got to talk to me in English. Don't be using this Japanese, Chinese, Latin that's in the back of my brain. And please don't do French because I don't do French. Let me see. I got to use my Japanese keyboard. Bo. Bo. Cat. Sha. Where's Sha? Sa. Shisu. Say so. and then a Chisaya, Volkensha. Adventurer. Yeah, it means adventurer. Okay. You do French and Chinese. The never ending story. That reminds me of who was that? It was in Stranger Things. Turn around. Look at what you see in her face. The mirror of your dream. Okay. Purdue. I wanted to start my freshman year. I started my sophomore year. So I did yeah, I actually ended up watching it Valentine's Day 2020, I think. I ordered a heart-shaped pizza from whatever pizza place and I watched The Matrix. I think I did the first and the second one on Valentine's Day and then I finished the last one. I learned it sophomore year I did 101, 102. I did from 101 to 301. I failed Japanese 301 3 times because, well, I withdrew from it 3 times because my other classes were too demanding. I didn't have the time to put into it. And by the time I took it like the last time, I was so rusty in Japanese. And by the time you get to 301, they only speak in Japanese. And I was like, okay. I remember one day the sensei was like, I forget what it was, athlete, however you say athlete in Japanese. And one dude in the class was like, what does this word mean? And the professor, she asked me if I knew what it meant. And I was like, yeah. She was like, tell him what it means. I was like, and of course I got to do it in Japanese. So I'm like, sportsuru hito. Sportsuru no hito. It's a person who does sports. Athlete. Oh, yeah. You told Russell he reminded you of the dragon in Neverending Story. I love Russ. Shout out to Russell from Wrestling Around. Shout out to everybody who's here. Wait, what'd you say about the Neverending Story? So yeah, it's that Bull Kinshaw energy, the Neverending Story. I need to watch that. 26 is a 10. 26 is not a 10. 26 is an 8. This whole time I've been looking at 26 like it's a 10. What's the 10 of diamonds? 26 is an 8, and it's the 10 of pentacles. This is trapped in the monotony of life, in day to day life. This 30 is a king of hearts. There's something that transpires that awakens a certain divinity within you that is very much so connected to the emotional, spiritual space. And then this 3 with the 10 of hearts is the Leviathan. That 10 of cups energy is the Leviathan, which is again the space of it's the space that we occupy when we get closer and closer and closer to the spark of the divine that lives within us. Whatever is happening, this is basically the reading that I did yesterday, when it was like whatever is happening, it's transpiring to trigger that divine spark within us. That's literally what this is. And that's why it's sort of like Merkabah. It's related to the Merkaba in some way. Don't ask me. I don't know basically anything about the Merkaba besides it's the vehicle of the soul. That's all I know. Where can you find? I would look it up, D. It was around. I've only seen them around Valentine's Day. They overcharge for them, and they don't arrive cut. Like they don't even cut the pizza. I mean, if it's supposed to be romantic, you don't want to get like, I guess, a broken heart on Valentine's Day. But I'm like, I'll survive. Can you cut my pizza, please? And it'd be thin crust. It's thin crust. It's expensive. I think maybe Papa John's. There was a pizza place on campus, Mad Mushroom, I think, had heart shaped pizza. Um, there was another place that had it. I have to look it up when it around Valentine's Day. I'll look it up. I don't think Domino's has heart-shaped pizza. I was surprised. But yeah, that's what this is. And I'm looking at the birds in the book and the birds in the ship. And again, that is a sort of like divine masculine emperory type of energy in that Six of Cups. It's a remembrance when, masculine energy wasn't like toxic and nasty and stuff like that. It's triggering something. So, bottom of the deck is the tree. See that Idrisil type energy, world tree type energy. And I'm looking at the butterfly. Like there's a lot of well established energy. I am in not Chicago, Illinois, Rebecca. I say not Chicago because I'm in Illinois and I don't live in Chicago. And whenever I tell people I'm from Illinois, they assume I'm from Chicago or a suburb of Chicago. I'm like 2.5 to 3 hours south of Chicago. Got you cooking and baking made pie. Oh, snap. I've been trying to cook more. So in this tree, there are energies that are very, very well established. But there's that single butterfly. That single butterfly in the branches of this tree, the only energy that talks about transformation is the lily that's pressed in the pages of this book. And I feel like it can be very easy for us to dismiss the lily. Or it's like, oh, a lily, cute. And then we just keep reading or something. But there is a certain remembrance with that. Again, it's that Ten of Hearts, Ten of Cups, Leviathan energy and how that moves us forward. This reminds me of the Nickies, I think. The Nickars. I don't Nickars. And they were these water spirits? And if you respect them, then you have smooth sailing. Back when basically boats were the only ways for us to get around. There's also an Ananiel Angel of Storms energy here. And it reminds me of the one card. This is the second Ananiel that talks about fairer tidings and fairer weather and stuff like that. So Ananiel, the Angel of Storms, in one card it talked about how the fishermen were going out, they were taking their boats out to sea, and Ananiel told them not to go. But they went anyway. And then it's like angered, the angel made the waves move them in a way that his words could not. And it wrenched them from the land and it wrenched their boats further and further into the middle of the water until land was lost to the horizon. I just completely butchered that. You're in Florida. What? What? You gotta wake up at 6, girl? That's in 4 hours. Get some sleep. Get some sleep, Rebecca. Are you gonna like sleep when they all go? So the Leviathan, it's literally just the space of, I guess you could call it our higher. It's not necessarily our higher self. The Leviathan is the energy of us operating in that divine sovereign energy. It's us as we heal and we evolve and we get closer and closer and closer to the truth that we were created in. Um, it's like, how they say that we're made in the image of God and that we hold a piece and a fragment of the creator within us. It's us when we get closer to that creator energy. And to do that, there's a lot of things that we have to work through. But in that, and again, that's what the book is sort of talking about. This is us going through life page by page. And then there's an opportunity for more. Now, a catalyst isn't magic. A catalyst is a facilitator. A catalyst facilitates for certain things to happen, and so the materials have to be present, right? If you don't have everything, it doesn't matter. It's not gonna, you got to give it something to work with, but it's all there. And then when we come into the truth of that, it completely changes the way we navigate life with this ship card. Ooh, now the home is at the bottom. House number 4. I love it too. Catalyst, catalysis. Catalysis is building something up. So yeah, I mean, I guess this came out again. And there is a sort of remembrance here. It's so weird, but that's what it feels like. It's like, oh yeah, like duh. I don't have to be like lost. I don't have to be whatever. And there is a sort of, again, through Ananiel, there's this message of like spirit is trying to teach us how to navigate these sort of times, but we're also in the space of making our own choices through the space of our free will. And I feel like some, I don't want to say some angels are able to, I feel like for a lot of angels, they have very specific realms. They have very specific spheres of influence. Whatever we're going to, and it came out recently, it feels like it's outside of Ananiel's sphere of influence. So Ananiel would see destruction awaiting us. But there's another spirit that sees that there's actually something that we're heading towards. And again, we have this king energy sitting in between two tens. So maybe it's one associated with transformation that sees this as a necessary part of the journey. Excuse me, this ship, it reminds me of Captain Hook's ship in Once Upon a Time. This is dolphin energy. This is a ship that can travel between different dimensions. I guess it was the being that opened the portal. It's a ship that can travel between different dimensions, just like dolphins can sort of travel between different dimensions. And it's interesting because crows are a bird that I've heard lately as associated with seeing past, present, and future all at once because they can sort of travel between. So there's a multi-dimensional, trans-dimensional energy in air at the same time as there's a trans-dimensional energy in water. And so the mind and the heart are connecting in a way that they weren't or that they haven't been in a long time. And it's this connection that's facilitating whatever this is. And it reminds me of that 999 energy. Again, it's the same reading that I just did. There were 27 cards. It was 3 nines. And it was like there's a 9 in body, a 9 in heart, and a 9 in spirit. And when they're all sort of operating at this completion point, all contributing, then it makes way for something. I don't know what it is, but that's what I got. The notion of portals in different dimensions. So let's see. So I kind of see. There's the coffin. Oh, look, there's the coffin. Oof. Well, that is a dimension that's a book that's coming to an end. So we're in a space of rewrite, allowing the world to be rewritten, because both of these are an 8 energy. And then the moon is literally behind the coffin. Before you reach the end, this lily, oops, this lily, it's taking you into a different space. So sometimes, Rebecca, you can think of a portal or a different dimension as a different set of potentialities, as different things being possible, right? And so it's like if you are in a certain space, it's very much so like what you think of as possible becomes possible. So let's say, for instance, you only see red apples. And so in your mind, you operate because that's your belief that you hold. You live in a universe that only has red apples. So you don't get your Granny Smiths because I think Granny Smiths are green. But then something happens. You grow, you heal, you evolve, you see something one day, you accept, you integrate that. So now you're capable of more than just red apples. And so you go through this portal, you experience this different dimension where like there's more than just red apples. It's a different set of potentials. It's a different set of outcomes for certain situations and circumstances. But sometimes it takes a reworking within ourselves for us to allow those things to be possible. And once you're in a space of allowing them to be possible, once you work to the point where you can receive them, then you can start to experience them in a way that other dimensions, other timelines wouldn't have allowed space for because you wouldn't have allowed space for it, essentially. That's one way to go about it. That's not necessarily consistent with everything. Um, so, if that's helpful at all. And I think a lot of times, like if a portal is opening, then it's like, we are positioning ourselves, or there are energies that are coming forward of expansion that are sort of allowing for more and more to be possible. It's the Matrix. That's the it's kind of sort of the Matrix. It's like if there's an update in the Matrix, hey, we're updating the Matrix now. Instead of every Tuesday being Taco Tuesday, it can also be Tato Tuesday. Thank you. I'm glad. I hope it made sense. Apple's Idun. Did Idun come out? I know Russ talked about how when the something happened to Idun and the gods started to age because they couldn't eat the apples and how they were freaking out. And it's like, well, and then here's the coffin. It's time for a new age. Anyway, so that's kind of sort of how I see portals. It's us making ourselves ready for all of that. No problem, Rebecca. Thank you so much again for being here. You didn't know that about crows. They have been robbing your pear and peach tree. Now they will get more love. Yeah, so maybe now you can see crows as a sign of you navigating through different dimensions where your future, your tomorrows are looking brighter and brighter. Maybe sometimes it costs something, which is a pear or a peach. Also, there may be some jerk crows because I think Lisa said somewhere else that there were crows that had messed with another bird's nest in her neighbor's yard or something like that. There may be some crows going through some things right now. There are certain timelines that may be experiencing this coffin energy, and those crows got to go somewhere because those timelines are reaching an end and they're adjusting. They're what's the word? Or not, take it as it resonates, right? That does remind me, there's one Yu-Gi-Oh series where it's like there are multiple dimensions because something happens. And so they split the dimensions into four to try to save the people. And then they recombine the timelines. And it's like there were dying dimensions. And so they started fighting. No problem. Hey, I'm glad to hear it, Rebecca. Enjoy your night. I hope you feel well rested when you wake up and when you get your kids ready for camp. Um, yeah. I hope you enjoy your day tomorrow. I'm not going to be on too much longer. Death Note and how the Shinagamis liked apples. They did like apples. I wasn't super huge into Death Note. And then I saw the end of Death Note, and that was the most disappointing thing I've seen in my life. One of the most disappointing things I've seen in my life. If I'm like, if you're gonna be big and bad, be big and bad to the end. Like, don't sit in this space of now you're gonna experience some consequences and you losing your gosh darn mind. Like, come on. I was so just like, I was like, nah. See, for all of the lives that you've destroyed, for all of this complex that you had, for you to go out like this, it's a shame. It's a shame. That's why it's like once now you're about to experience some consequence and like no. So for all of the people who were on the other side and you had no mercy, Saturn, the karma come for us all at some point. I'm just playing. We ain't doing that no more. We ain't doing that. We're letting it go. Those things will work themselves out. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go tonight as well. This helped me a lot. So I appreciate you all being here. I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this. For those who watch later, I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. Maybe that's why I say that too. Like, because these energies are just potentials a lot of times. And potential is great, but if we don't do anything, it won't be actualized or realized. So that's why I say I hope you're acting in alignment to make that which you wish to experience your reality. And I'll catch y'all later. Thank you again for being here. I am going to get some sleep myself so I can wake up tomorrow. Yeah. And it's like, if crows come to mean something else for you later, D, then, that too. But yeah, maybe it's that sign that maybe I need to start. What are some signs I'm seeing? Shoot. Where my seagulls go? If I see a seagull in cornfields, Illinois, I know the divine is looking out for me. So I know somebody somewhere heard that. Send me a seagull. I think actually though, I feel like I was somewhere and I was like, is that a seagull? Maybe it was last year. There was a bird and I heard it and I was like, is that a seagull here in cornfield, soybeans, Illinois? What? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't remember. All right, I'll catch y'all later. Bye.